Sorry I can't send you home with it. Super nerd.
Sorry, team. I'm very lucky I knocked out your teammates there because it was getting pretty tight at the end.
It's been a delight. Join us again next time.
Tonight in 7 News, Melbourne divided. 36 suburbs set to go into a new lockdown. Police preparing to enforce second wave restrictions with checkpoints on major roads. The latest details live. Also, Victorians facing jail if they cross the New South Wales border. 300,000 people caught in the COVID crossfire. Neighbours living under different rules. Businesses pushed to the brink. Victoria facing an AFL exodus. Teams forced out to keep the 2020 season alive. And a Collingwood star banned for 4 weeks over claims of a naked night out.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Peter Mitchell starts now.
Good evening. Melbourne is a city divided tonight, with police preparing to enforce new lockdown laws across 36 suburbs. The second wave restrictions cover more than 300,000 people and come into effect at midnight. Laurel Irving is tracking developments, and Laurel, residents in the lockdown suburbs are being threatened with jail if they don't comply.
Mitch, we are about to see scenes on Melbourne streets we've never seen before. Police in booze buses on major roads trying to stop people moving between suburbs. They will be issuing fines, and yes, they do have the powers to arrest people. This will be difficult. It will certainly be complicated, but the government says it's the only way to tackle our new COVID crisis. The final hours of freedom. After weeks of being able to shop and visit loved ones, at midnight more than 300,000 people across 10 hotspot postcodes go back into lockdown.
I do readily concede that because this is not statewide, there will be some additional complexities because of the targeted nature of this lockdown.
They'll be pulling people over randomly and through the sort of, booze bus type arrangement to check where people are going.
The alternative is, of course, to say, OK, well, we'll lock down the whole city or the whole state.
The Premier knows the move is difficult and divisive, but many in affected areas agree it's critical.
Has to be done. Has to be done.
I think it should go deeper, to be honest.
Probably should have been done like by hotspots a long time ago.
More than 20,000 people are already being tested every day, and across Melbourne's north and west, another 12 testing sites are opening in what the government calls hot zones. For months, we've heard we're all in this together. Now, after an alarming surge in cases, some are in it more than others.
Whenever you draw a line on a map, there will always be people on either side of it. There will always be anomalies and issues that come from that.
Victoria today recorded another 73 new cases, 3 from hotel quarantine, 42 still under investigation. New cases have been detected at SBS at Federation Square, in health workers at the new Joan Kirner Hospital and the Epworth. More cases too linked to the Coles Distribution Centre and the Hugo Boss store. Still, the numbers aren't as high as the government had feared.
It is pleasing that there is some sense of stability to these numbers.
And interstate backup is on the way. 30 clinical staff from South Australia and 40 nurses from Queensland are coming to help.
Just do our part for this pandemic.
We stand ready to do whatever we can to support Victoria.
New South Wales is helping too with contact tracing staff, but it's issued an extraordinary threat to those from the hotspots thinking of travelling.
As soon as you step foot in New South Wales, you'll be exposed to the possibility of 6 months jail and an $11,000 fine.
The state opposition says government mishandling brought Victoria to this point.
You have to ask, so many people are losing their jobs because of this second wave and these lockdowns. Why does Daniel Andrews still have his?
And the Premier was planning to take leave next week for school holidays, but not anymore. He's now cancelled that leave so he can instead focus on this new COVID crisis. Mitch.
Laurel Irving at Keilor Downs, thank you. There's growing anger and confusion in many of the lockdown suburbs where neighbours are living side by side under different rules. Paul Dowsley is at Deer Park this evening. Paul, it can come down to metres or even centimetres.
Mitch, postcodes usually change across a road, but here it's this side fence. Right now I am standing in Deer Park, postcode 3023, but a couple of steps this way and I'm in a coronavirus hotspot, Auburn-Vale, postcode 3021, which means for some Melburnians the Great Divide is agonisingly close. The invisible lockdown line is very clear for these next door neighbours.
We are the boundary between 3032 and 3031.
From tonight, June Degina and Christine Gulbis will live with different freedoms. Their fence separates stage 2 and 3 restrictions.
We were a little surprised, first of all, because we haven't heard of any outbreaks in the immediate area.
Oh, look, I feel terribly sorry for them, but if they need anything, I'll help.
It's an unusual situation to be in, but it's just one of those little boundary quirks.
Donna faces the same agonising reality, in lockdown from 11:59 tonight, but next door isn't.
Just devastated. It's just a few metres that way, that's freedom, and yeah, now 4 weeks stuck inside.
She believes other areas in her 3046 postcode are the problem.
Well, I think we're pretty good in Oak Park, but it just sort of gets accumulated because we share a postcode.
Might you consider moving in next door?
No. No, I don't know my neighbours.
Nearby, Ivan and Lena Carrick live next door to their nephew. They're safe, he isn't.
I feel sorry because he's got plenty on his hands.
And these townhouses straddle the Great Divide. On the left, 3044, no lockdown. On the right, 3046, said to be dangerous.
I wanted to cry, if I'm completely honest. It's been a tough time for our community. We were starting to see some signs of hope. We were starting to get really optimistic about what the future might look like. And realistically, we're right back to square one.
But not everyone living in the 10 hotspot postcodes will lock down.
It's like cutting off freedom.
So will you do it?
No.
You won't stay at home?
No. No, I got better things to do.
Leaving the rest, who are doing the right thing, frustrated.
They're ignorant, they're stupid. They've got no brains.
It is a nightmare.
Because?
Because we just can't do anything. Like, we can't move in the house or anything. It's horrible.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
Chanel Vella is in Kingsville, and Chanel, they've been caught in the coronavirus crossfire.
Oh, Mitch, you've got to feel sorry for residents of Kingsville. They have no active cases in this area, but they share a postcode with other hotspots. And that means from midnight tonight, this area will be locked down. Almost 4,000 people live here.
Kingsville is a lovely area. Everyone I speak to has been practicing social distancing.
And that hard work means they have no active cases, but their postcode has made them COVID collateral damage.
It almost feels as though it's like a prison.
The suburb will be locked down from midnight because it's next to Maidstone, West Footscray and Tottenham.
I get that there's a decision that needed to be made, but maybe that could have been looking at specific suburbs where those hotspots were and looking at shutting those down as opposed to a blanket 3012.
This gym will now have to move classes back online, but they really wish they could move across the road to Yarraville.
So like the road separates us from being open and not being open, so yeah, it's disappointing.
The local cafe will have to limit customers.
We're looking at having one person in at a time as opposed to being able to have some dine in and 4 people in.
And it's also back to the future if you're trying to sell your house.
We advised all of our members to revert to online auctions for those properties that they've got coming up for sale in those postcodes.
Meanwhile, residents in Pascoe Vale won't go back into lockdown despite being surrounded by hotspot suburbs like Brunswick West, Hadfield, Glenroy and Broadmeadows.
It is what it is. Because we're in Pascoe Vale, I feel quite lucky.
It's an awkward feeling at the moment, but what can we do?
Chanel Vella, 7 News.
Shattered business owners who just reopened their doors say they'll struggle to survive going back into lockdown. They've been offered hardship payments, but tell us it's nowhere near enough.
Small business heartache everywhere at a Brunswick West gym.
That's just devastating, like it's really shattering.
At a Nidri hair salon.
It's extremely tough. There's been lots of changes in a short period of time.
At a Glenroy family-owned cafe.
It's just like, oh my God, not again.
This Brunswick West tattoo parlour, part owned by Brownlow medalist Dane Swan, will close at midnight because it's on the lockdown side of this narrow lane.
I guess we can feel a little unlucky, yes. Definitely. It's devastating. It really hurts. It hits us in the heart.
Excellent. 10 more seconds. This gym too must close, having just reopened after the original lockdown. Deeply frustrating.
Considering we've just been back for 2 weeks, and we've tried as a team to really foster a safe environment.
So many local small businesses will have to lay off staff, maybe worse.
There's going to be some business people who go, I'm not doing this again, I cannot do it again, and they will shut and they won't reopen.
Small businesses affected by the lockdown will be eligible for a special $5,000 grant from the state government, but they tell us here that's not nearly enough.
You know, we have a lot of staff, we have a lot of outgoings. You know, what's $5,000 going to do? Yeah, don't think so.
Dairy Queen returns to takeaway only from midnight.
This is our last supper.
For these women in their 80s, their daily meeting here is their social life.
I feel devastated, really, because we all live on our own. So this is really like a second family to us.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
And one of Melbourne's biggest shopping centres is in the middle of the lockdown zone. Mike Amor is at High Point this evening. And Mike, the lockdown is a blow they didn't see coming.
Mitch, from tomorrow there will be major changes here. Grocery outlets will remain open, as will banks and medical services. But the cafes and restaurants will revert back to takeaway only, meaning some of them, especially those inside the centre, won't open at all. I spoke with one of the worried store owners.
Gone from a 2-week turnaround of stressing for 50 people dining to basically no sales now. It was going to get busy, had to hire new staff. Now you're looking at...
You lay those staff off?
Some of them maybe.
How much longer can you hold on as a business?
Would like to think as long as possible, but can't give a definite answer.
No one knows, right? That's the hardest part of it.
Exactly.
And Mitch Zoki is in a situation that's replicated tonight in hundreds of small businesses right across our city.
Very difficult. Mike Amor at High Point, thank you. The coronavirus hotspots and second wave restrictions are causing chaos for the AFL again tonight. Chief Football reporter Mark Stevens has the details. And Steve-o, 2 big issues are unfolding tonight.
Well, Mitch, the first problem caused by the New South Wales border bans on people from Melbourne's hotspots and involves the AFL as well. Players living in those suburbs desperately trying to get out of their homes tonight before the lockdown comes into effect. The Bulldogs North and Essendon, very close links in the area. In all, 7 clubs have players or officials in hotspots. Only Melbourne, Hawthorn and Geelong not impacted. So about 50 people in total affected. The AFL is offering hotel accommodation to those in need. Now, the other big story, still Sidebottom protocols on COVID. The announcement has come down, a 4-match ban, and the Magpies, they're not happy. There's never a dull moment at Collingwood, and the local constabulary stopped by for a look. It was the Williamstown police that drove Steele Sidebottom home to Kew on Sunday morning after a drunken night.
Steele obviously needed to get help home, and in his recollection can't remember a lot around what happened.
A witness late today claiming the Magpies vice-captain was partially naked when found by police in a quiet street. Sidebottom's been COVID tested, but he hasn't got the all clear to return to the club.
He's quite embarrassed about the situation. He's also in some way confused about what has taken place. At some point, obviously, with his drinking, that he's made some poor decisions.
Collingwood furious at the 4-match ban a short time ago, releasing a statement. It reads, Collingwood and Sidebottom share the view that his 4-match ban is excessive, inconsistent with recent protocol breaches and contestable. Sidebottom and teammate Lyndon Dunn had drinks with injured Pie Jeremy Howe to console him. Sidebottom then caught an Uber to the home of Daniel Wells, a staffer not in the club bubble. Dunn, for his short Uber trip, was hit with a 1-match ban. Mark Stevens, 7 News.
The spread of the virus from hotel quarantine continues to escalate. 7 News has been told the way security was handled at some hotels was a disaster waiting to happen.
So serious are the allegations of mismanagement and misconduct, a judge will determine what went wrong.
There have been unacceptable infection control breaches in hotel quarantine. That is unacceptable to me and to all Victorians.
Security industry insiders say the contracts were seen by some firms as being easy money. Safety protocol breaches resulted in dozens of COVID-19 cases being spread by security guards to their families and the wider community.
As a result of these hotel quarantine stuff-ups, suburbs are locked down, businesses are being closed and people are losing their jobs.
While it's suggested guards have breached infection controls, there are also claims the health department failed to provide basic personal protective equipment. The security issues go well beyond a single company. Different operators are in charge at the Ridges and also here at the Stanford Plaza. Those companies also subcontract to other security firms. Prison guards are now being recruited to oversee quarantine operations. There are also calls to place stricter controls on returned travellers. Cameron Bowe, 7 News.
3 more Melbourne schools are off limits after confirmed COVID-19 cases. It's raised more questions on whether schools will reopen for the start of Term 3.
Despite the threat of COVID-19, parents across the city are adamant their children should return to school after the holidays.
The whole staying at home really brought challenges, and I think they need to be facilitating back at school.
The schools are taking the right measures and doing everything in their powers to make it safe.
And that's the plan for now.
The Chief Health Officer isn't advising me to close schools.
But for families in hotspot areas or with children at schools forced to shut for cleaning, the health advice is cold comfort.
They should be closed. Not frustrated, but worried.
3 new schools were implicated in today's COVID-19 figures. A student at Hoppers Crossing Secondary College and another at Creekside College tested positive, along with a staff member at West Breen Primary School. There was also another case at Aitken Creek Primary. Cleaners could move in easily given students are now on holidays, but just whether or not they will return for the start of Term 3 remains to be seen.
If that advice were to change between now and the resumption of the next term, then of course we would move to an alternative set of arrangements.
When school does resume, the government says it will have a range of safety measures in place, like thermometers at every campus to protect teachers and students.
We think there are some additional steps we can put in place.
2 weeks where anything can happen, particularly if the number of COVID-19 cases continue to rise. Jodie Lee, 7 News.
Tim Watson joins us now with a look ahead to sport, and Tim, Bombers defender Connor McKenna was back at the club today.
That's right, Mitch. Less than 2 weeks after testing positive for COVID-19, the Irishman trained alongside his teammates. We'll hear about his chances to play on Friday night shortly. Plus, team changes at St Kilda and Carlton ahead of tomorrow night's fast-track showdown. Storm players caught with their pants off. But that's not their biggest concern, and Liz Cambage calls for the Indigenous flag to be on all Aussie uniforms. Mitch, all that and more coming up shortly.
Thank you, Tim. See you then. Social distancing has been ignored at a big union protest. Next, they blocked a busy road in front of police. Just 1 person was fined. Details ahead. Also, a shock for 2 tradies leads to a frantic police response. The new military strategy to keep Australia safe. And later, the breakthrough single test that can check for dozens of diseases.
This is no regular 13-year-old.
We're getting goosebumps. Couldn't take my eyes off you.
It's the night a new generation of talent shines.
You blew the roof off.
And the song.
It is insanely good.
That'll have the world up and dancing.
I think you might be one of the best singers we've ever had.
New America's Got Talent. Tonight, 7:30 on 7.
Give in to fresh. Give in to Subway.
JB Hi-Fi smashing prices for the hottest deals. Like a crazy 20% off Microsoft Surface Pro 7 Pro X and Laptop 3. $330 off this Hisense 75-inch 4K TV. $400 off this Garmin Fenix S5 watch and stack small deals. JB, you've done it again.
Life's changed for all of us, but Bupa's here to help. Because you shouldn't put your health on hold. Because you're going out less, we'll help you at home. And because a little advice can go a long way. Because you can't always go far, we're going further to give you the support you need. Bupa, because life happens.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's on the play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer. Receive a $700 Harvey Norman gift card when you sign up to a new service on the Optus $65 per month SIM-only plan for 24 months with 80 gigabytes of data for use in Oz. Offer extended until 2nd of August. Or receive a $400 Harvey Norman gift card when you sign up to a new $35 per month Optus data plan for 24 months. Available until withdrawn. In-store only. Not available with any other offers. Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer.
HelloFresh. Delicious meals delivered to your door with pre-portioned fresh ingredients. Now you can focus on what's really important. Order your box today. HelloFresh. Inspiration delivered.
It's back, the ultimate cheesy garlic bread sub. Make your favourite sub inside hot, cheesy garlic bread. Give in to the ultimate cheesy garlic bread sub. Give in to fresh. Give in to Subway.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
More than 250 union members have ignored social distancing rules and shut down a busy Melbourne road in a peak hour protest outside a building site. One person has copped a penalty for organising the illegal protest, but none of those who took part were fined.
A show of solidarity for two of their own. No social distancing and no on-the-spot fines, as 250 union members rallied over the alleged bashing of two officials yesterday, one victim joining the crowd with a battered face.
One of them was hit from behind with a lump of timber and was knocked unconscious, and they sort of proceeded to still keep kicking him and lay into him.
Photos obtained by 7 News show the moments after the officials were set upon. They were at the site investigating possible public safety breaches.
So they're walking down the footpath, they've got to squeeze past the outriggers.
As the crowd grew larger, the protest was called off for fear of COVID-19 fines.
They were certainly indicated today directly to the CFMEU that there would be fines issued.
I think it'd be unfortunate if we got a fine. I think the officials down there were in constant communication with the senior police there.
Police say they're still investigating the assault of the two men, but 7 News understands charges are expected to be laid. Tom Chadwick, 7 News.
The Kingsway exit of the Westgate Freeway was shut after a car exploded into flames late today. Traffic had to be diverted around the scene as crews put out the fire. There are no reports of any injuries. The hunt continues for a man armed with a gun who threatened 2 tradies at Broadmeadows. The pair turned up to work on a townhouse when they heard noises and were confronted by the man. Heavily armed police raided the house, but the gunman had already made his getaway. Scott Morrison has given a bleak rundown of Australia's military threats, claiming our world is facing challenges not seen since the rise of Adolf Hitler. The government is committing over $250 billion to a new defence strategy, hoping to counter the rise of enemies in our own backyard.
Dark times make the case for more muscle.
The Prime Minister repeatedly likens today's threats to
when the global and regional order collapsed in the 1930s and 1940s.
History's deadliest conflict, World War II, now compounded by a pandemic.
A post-COVID world that is poorer, that is more dangerous, and that is more disorderly.
The PM's answer? Invest in stealthy American technology able to observe and hit enemies from hundreds of kilometres. It doesn't come cheap. 4 years ago, our decade-long defence spend was approaching $200 billion. Now, $270 billion. Wrong, says lead advisor to the Defence White Paper, Peter Jennings.
I think you could easily double that and we'd still be finding areas where more spending was required.
He says the real cost of the government's military wish list is near $500 billion. And it's overwhelmingly pointed one way.
It's all about China.
And that means Defence will focus more on Australia's own region, even expanding radar surveillance to watch China's expansion south in the Pacific. Tim Lester, 7 News.
There's been a dramatic rescue to save 4 bushwalkers trapped near Cape Otway. A scrub fire on their track last night forced them onto a ledge near the ocean as the tide was rising. The police air wing managed to winch them to safety. 2 were taken to hospital. Our 1st of July began with sunshine and warmer temperatures. Melina Saris is here. Melina, what can we expect for the month ahead?
Well, Mitch, July is our coldest month, so today's top temperature of 17 degrees with plenty of sunshine was a welcome surprise. The average minimum temperature for July is just 6 degrees, but we can expect around 3 nights where the minimum temperature will be 2 degrees or less and at least 1 night below zero. The coldest night on record is minus 2.8. Our days will become colder as well, with an average top temperature of 13.5 degrees. The coldest July day on record is just 4.4. And this month we can usually expect around 48 millimetres of rain. We could pick up some of that rainfall tonight, and there are a few wet days on the way as well. I'll have the full forecast after sport, Mitch.
Thanks, Melina. Ahead, Melbourne's most dangerous train stations revealed.
The top time spot is one of our busiest stations. I'll have the details next.
Also $1 million on offer to solve a mystery 25 years in the making. Why police are now investigating a fire in a heritage-listed house. And a famous kangaroo logo dumped for this.
It's just very lonely out here, and I'm looking for someone to share these flies with.
Never expected to have feelings for someone so quickly. My heart has pounded faster and harder than it ever has in my life.
I definitely am starting to fall for Harry.
It's harder and harder. I'm in a bloody pickle, mate.
Will Farmer Harry find the love of his life?
Never know, she might be the one.
New Farmer Wants a Wife, this July on 7.
Hi everyone, Courtney Ralston here. Now the same question comes up day after day in our house, and that's what's for dinner? Now it can be tricky thinking of new recipes, but Coles has you sorted with over 80 quick and easy dinner ideas to choose from. Over the next few weeks, every Wednesday night, I'm going to bring you one of the feature What's for Dinner recipes. These recipes are 5 ingredients or less and ready in under 30 minutes. On tonight's menu is Cheats Chickpea Korma Curry, so let's get cooking. I'm starting with a bag of the Coles roasting vegetables. So they're already cut up and I've got a great mixture in here. Carrots, sweet potato, onions and zucchini. So I'm just gonna roughly cut up the vegetables. These can all go into my pan that's on a medium heat. Just season that with a touch of salt. I can now go in with our chickpeas. So this is a 400 gram can of chickpeas and I've just drained them. To make a curry from scratch, you could need over 12, 15 ingredients. It can take a long time. If you want to get dinner on the table really quickly without any stress, you can grab one of these. So this has already just got spices, coconuts and cashews in there. And I'm just going to pour our korma simmer sauce over our veg and chickpeas and just give that a toss around. All right, just to keep our curry nice and wet as it's cooking, I'm going in with half a cup of water. While that curry's been blipping away, I've just heated up a couple of bags of the Coles Basmati microwave rice. Done in a flash, really simple and ready to go with our curry. So our veggies are nice and tender in the curry, our rice is nice and hot and ready to go. It's time to plate some of this up. Alright, so I've got my piping hot basmati rice, our korma curry that's been blipping away over here. Alright, look at that, loaded with vegetables, soft chickpeas. Alright, and I've just got some coriander to go over the top. Something nice and fresh just to garnish it up. The Cheats Chickpea Korma Curry. Soft, fluffy rice, beautiful tender veggies in that really nice mild curry sauce. Coles have also made meal planning for the week really easy. Pick up a copy of the July Coles magazine for a month's worth of delicious and simple recipe inspiration. For this recipe and many more, visit coles.com.au or sign up to the Coles digital catalogue for new recipes every week. Now that is a curry in a hurry.
Melbourne's two biggest train stations are also the most dangerous, according to the latest crime figures. Georgia Comensoli is at Southern Cross Station this evening. Georgia, there's at least one offence committed there every day.
Mitch, these are worrying numbers for anyone who catches public transport in Melbourne. An analysis of our crime stats found that more than 530 crimes were committed here at Southern Cross or at Flinders Street Station between April last year and March this year. Dandenong Station came in third, followed by Sunshine, Frankston, Footscray and Springvale. Most of the incidents recorded were property and deception offences, and alarmingly 90 crimes were committed against passengers or metro staff. The figures have prompted calls not only to keep PSOs at all stations, but also to extend patrols throughout the day. Police say officers will maintain a presence at city transport hubs and have noted that offences at city stations have decreased over the last year. Mitch.
Georgia Comensoli at Southern Cross Station, thank you. A heartbroken family is pleading for information over the disappearance of a Melbourne mother 25 years ago. A $1 million reward has been posted as police reveal a person of interest.
Luke Duncan has grown up without his mother.
I've got videos and stuff of Christmases, and there's like little, probably 2 to 3 seconds of me and my mum together, and that's all I've got.
25 years ago, Shari Davison vanished without a trace.
It's my firm belief that there are people out there that know exactly what happened.
On the night of February 17, 1995, Ms Davison left a Dandenong strip club with a friend. They went to the Croydon Sports Club, Mentone Hotel and a house in Hampton. She then went with her boyfriend to the casino and caught a taxi home. That afternoon, she made 2 calls from a Footscray phone box.
In one call, Ms Davison told her boss she could work later that evening, and in the other, she arranged to meet up with her boyfriend. She was never heard from again.
After repeated pleas for information, her parents now say, "We are running out of time to find the answers we desperately need. We will all love Shari forever, but love doesn't give us any peace."
It is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week torture for these people.
A former colleague and double murderer, Robin Lindholm, is one of a handful of suspects.
It would be nice to clear their conscience if they come forward and give some information.
Tegan Dolling, 7 News.
A heritage-listed house at Brighton that's gone up in flames twice is now the subject of a police investigation. The 131-year-old mansion was destroyed in a suspicious fire in May. Police are now probing whether it's linked to another fire at the property in 2015.
There was evidence of accelerants at the address this time around. We're yet to establish the motivation, so we're just keeping an open mind at this stage.
Its owner had been in a long-running battle to knock it down, but the Heritage Council refused the demolition permits. America's top virus expert has delivered a very grim warning. The US is on track to more than double daily coronavirus cases, hitting 100,000 new infections every 24 hours. But his pleas to take more action continue to be ignored.
With infections on the rise in 36 states, today politicians were warned the virus is out of control.
We are now having 40,000+ new cases a day. I would not be surprised if we go up to 100,000 a day if this does not turn around.
States are winding back freedoms, concerned about 4th of July crowds. But in Texas, bar owners are fighting the order to close down.
Come and get it!
Donald Trump tweeting, "As I watch the pandemic spread its ugly face, I become more and more angry at China." And despite growing appeals,
please wear a face covering when you go out in public.
You have a right in America not to wear a mask.
defiance continues.
Well, you gotta wear a mask, bro.
A man shoving his way into a store without one. An argument over social distancing in a steakhouse turns into this. The fight against the virus has a long way to go. In the United States, Paul Kadak, 7 News.
The iconic Made in Australia kangaroo logo has been pushed aside in favour of new branding. The symbol is already dividing opinion, even being likened to looking like the COVID virus logo.
The success or failure of a logo can be decided in seconds. You ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
No, that doesn't represent Australia.
I just think the other one is more like symbolises Australia.
Fancier, yeah. It doesn't really scream Australia though.
Here it is, the product of 2 years and $10 million, the new Australian-made logo, set to join the image the world has known since 1986.
We're absolutely backing the Australian-made kangaroo logo. What we're also trying to do is ensure we have some consistent colours, consistent design.
The government has already approved the new logo, primarily for trade shows and promoting services, education and science.
It should symbolise something about Australia, and I guess that one probably doesn't really get it right away in the same way that a kangaroo does.
The logo was approved by the Nation Brand Advisory Council, featuring Qantas CEO Alan Joyce, tech billionaire Mike Cannon-Brookes and mining magnate Andrew Forrest. The letters AU are causing some consternation. This logo replaces the little-known Australia Unlimited logo. AU is also the chemical symbol for gold, which sometimes is found in the fool's variety.
It looks a bit like COVID to me.
The virus-like logo was approved before the pandemic hit. Brian Seymour, 7 News.
Still to come tonight, a major Melbourne medical breakthrough. One test for a variety of illnesses, from coronavirus to meningococcal, giving you peace of mind in minutes. Also a milestone for Melbourne Airport, how things have changed in 50 years. An incredible rescue as a van bursts into flames on a busy highway. And stuck in a vending machine, how this little girl's dad managed to set her free. That's next.
Young Matty Rowell made a massive impact in a short period of time, as has his high panting.
If he pulls those pants up any higher, there'll be no chance of them getting anyone under the father-son rule.
That's rich coming from you two. This was the promo from 2 years back. Massive show coming up. That's the front bar. A bit later on tonight.
The Front Bar, tonight on 7.
Because sometimes it's more than just growing pains. Bupa offers an online program to help you manage your mental well-being. Bupa, because life happens. Call today.
Imagine where you'd go if nothing stood in your way. The BMW X1 S-Drive 18i. From $49,900, drive away. Go there. Search BMW X1. There's a glass and a half in everyone.
At Devondale, we believe great milk comes from cows that graze free.
Australia's favourite toy sale is back. They'll be lining up for chores with big brands like Lego, Barbie and Bluey. Toy Mania ends July 15. Big W. Every day is a big day.
For pain relief, choose Maxigesic from your local Terry White Chemmart. Maxigesic is a unique patented combination of paracetamol and ibuprofen that provides fast and effective double action relief from a wide range of pain. Right now at Terry White Chemmart, Maxigesic paracetamol plus ibuprofen 12 tablets are just $3.99. Maxigesic powerful pain relief and your local Terry White Chemmart. That's real chemistry.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of dinner with everyone's favourite Coles chicken drumsticks. Down to just $4 a kilo for a large pack. And to find delicious chicken recipes, visit coles.com.au. Coles, good things, great value.
7 News, back in under 30 seconds, thanks to Cisco WebEx. When the world needs to work securely, the world works on WebEx.
Between wisdom and curiosity, there's a bridge. Between ideas and inspiration, trauma and treatment.
I've gained a couple of more kilos. Yeah, that's good for the baby.
Between the moments that make us who we are and keeping them safe, private and secure, there's WebEx.
The Australian Tax Office website crashed this morning as thousands went online to lodge tax returns at the beginning of the new financial year. It's also the first day Australians can access a second $10,000 payment from their super fund. The website is now back up and running. Today marks 50 years since the first aircraft took off from the Melbourne terminal. 38 million passengers usually pass through Tullamarine every year, though numbers this year are well down.
It's very unusual, as you can see behind me. The activity is well down. We're running at about 8% of passengers.
The airport has introduced touch-free parking, hand sanitiser stations and extra cleaning to help fight the pandemic. Melbourne researchers have developed a breakthrough test that can diagnose infections like coronavirus within minutes. They're calling for government funding to begin clinical trials on the device that they say will save lives.
Paul Omond has fought a long battle with leukemia. With his immune system weakened, he often contracted infections and cancer treatment was put on hold until test results arrived.
Months that I wouldn't have spent in not just the ward but the ICU, which is a very expensive place for a healthcare system.
A new device will hopefully change that, able to detect infections like colds, flu or even COVID-19 in just 15 minutes. It's also cheaper and easier to administer than existing tests.
This is pretty much a game changer in terms of being able to diagnose infections this quickly means that we're able to give people the therapy that they need.
The device will also be able to quickly detect pneumonia, golden staph, tuberculosis, meningococcal disease, even Ebola. It could still be up to 2 years before the test is commercially available. Researchers need federal government funding so they can undertake clinical trials.
The economic value over and above the lives that we hope to save is actually really significant.
In a future health crisis, the tests would be invaluable.
That would mean we could quicker respond if a new pandemic comes in.
Louisa Cheatley, 7 News.
A road rage attack has quickly escalated in Russia. One man can be seen capsicum spraying another driver as he gets into his Range Rover. He then gets out of the car with a gun and takes aim. It's understood no one was hurt. A highway camera's caught an astonishing rescue in China after this minivan flipped and caught fire. A passing driver raced to the scene and kicked in the windscreen. Remarkably, 3 people escaped through the smashed glass and were able to run from the scene before fire crews arrived. Police say a broken transmission shaft caused the crash. A skill tester machine can be frustrating at the best of times, but one father has been left fuming after his daughter spent nearly an hour stuck in one. He says no one could find the keys and calls to the service number listed weren't answered.
Paramedics checked her out and she was all fine after, no injuries, but just obviously a very distressing situation.
He's calling for improvements to prevent another child from becoming stuck. Sport is next with Tim Watson, and Tim, Alistair Clarkson has got his wish.
That's right, Mitch. When the Master Coach talks, the AFL listens. We'll tell you exclusively which rule interpretation has been changed. Plus, more injury intrigue at the Bombers as Connor McKenna returns. A big name back for the Saints, but it's not all good news at Moorabbin. Fears Melbourne Storm will be stuck on the Sunshine Coast for the entire season. Find out who's picking up the tab and why Opal star Liz Cambage is calling on all Australians to rise up.
Is this the beginning?
Where's this come from?
Of something massive, but only one team can prove they're the real deal. Carlton and St Kilda on Thursday Night Footy. Then, the most storied rivalry returns for another chapter. Essendon and Collingwood. What else does the most unpredictable season have in store? Thursday, go to the footy on 7.
Toy Mania's back at Big W with more ways to safely shop. You can lay by now for Christmas online and in-store, and we'll hold on to your toys for you. Toy Mania ends July 15. Big W. Every day's a big day.
On one hand, using mobile data and internet reduces Australia's carbon footprint by reducing travel and making business more efficient. But their use also creates CO2, and your carbon thumbprint may be something you have never even considered. Well, there is a solution.
Hey, guess what? Powerball has jackpotted to $50 million. Get your crew together and play. Come on.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
Today we'll be offering... They're gone. What do you mean they're gone? The snacks. They're gone. Missing. Well, they have to be here somewhere. They're not here. They can't just get up and walk away.
All right. Only 13 more hours to go. You're gonna have to hold it.
And nothing could drive us away. We're gonna be here forever and ever. That we can be here, oh, just for one day.
We all have the same goals. We want healthy cows and productive land after mining.
It's about giving back to our communities for future generations.
Once the mining's gone, this beautiful rehab land is here to stay.
There's more to Australian mining.
Authorised by Tanya Constable, Minerals Council of Australia, Canberra.
Getting back on the road is something we're all looking forward to. And at Toyota, we're here to help you do just that.
Get 3.9% finance across the Corolla, hatch and sedan range. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Aussie kids, are we big kids? Aussie kids, are we big kids? Aussie kids, are we big kids? This Sport Report brought to you by Tab. Long may we play.
Welcome back. Alistair Clarkson's criticism of the tackling rules has been backed up by the AFL in key messaging to the umpires. Returning to Chief Football reporter Mark Stevens. And Stevo, you've got the exclusive details. A crackdown is well and truly on.
No doubt, Tim, a crackdown on holding the ball coming, and the clubs were told that quite firmly today. The umpiring department reminding clubs players must do more to dispose of the ball. Memo today reads, where a player is in possession of the ball and has prior opportunity, a field umpire should award a free kick if the player is able to, but does not make a genuine attempt to dispose of the ball. Now, the umps have been shown this exact vision, several cases from last weekend where a player was ball security, if you like, holding it to themselves. The AFL's made a
clear. All these examples should have been free kicks for holding the ball. You can see there, no attempt. So Clarko wants the tackler rewarded, and I think he'll be happy this week. Change is coming. There's chaos in clubland tonight elsewhere. Hubs are looming for Victorian teams. There is a chance tonight that all 10 Victorian teams will leave the state next week for hubs. So not a single Victorian team left here in Victoria. Clubs told to expect to be away for 30 days. It is extreme, no footy and no clubs here in the heartland of footy. It's a fluid situation. We're expecting a fixture tomorrow, but as I said, clubs expecting to be moving and away for at least 30 days. And amid all this chaos, the teams are out for tomorrow night. Carlton and St Kilda. Geary back from a hamstring injury. Jones misses out for the Saints. Good news at Carlton, McKay is back. He's a key player for them. Might help them get over the line in what would be a great game. You know what, Tim? It'll be good just to concentrate on the footy tomorrow night. Back to you.
Thanks, Steve-O. So much going on. Two key Bombers could join the suspended Zach Merritt on the sidelines for Friday night's clash against Collingwood. Connor McKenna returned to Tullamarine this morning as Essendon weighs up whether to bring the Irishman in for his first game of 2020.
He's had his fair share of false starts, but finally, Connor McKenna is ready to roll in season 2020. The Irishman back at Tullamarine after self-isolation following his positive COVID-19 test. McKenna hasn't played a game at all this year.
The risk versus the reward of playing him after the period of time he's just had, that's the big thing for us to weigh up, is physically, how is he? He feels great, feels fresh, he's got no bruises, that's for sure. I'm very conscious of rushing a player in and then potentially losing them for 3 or 4 weeks.
Tom Bellchambers failed to take part in today's main session and looks in doubt to take on the Pies. Former Blue Andrew Phillips, his likely replacement to go up against Brodie Grundy. After returning last week from a quad injury, there are queries over Orazio Fantasia, who failed to train at all today, while Mitch Hibberd looks set to make his Essendon debut after being picked up in last year's rookie draft. Dyson Heppel doing what he can on the sidelines following ankle surgery. Both the Bombers and the Pies will wear their Anzac Day jumpers on Friday night. And Jake Gresham was back looking more like his usual self after finishing the win over the Tigers with his left eye closed over. The Saints eyeing off their third victory of the season against the Blues tomorrow night. Andrew McCormack, 7 News.
Former Cat turned Eagle Tim Kelly has encouraged Victorian players to take their families to interstate hubs. Kelly is one of the few players who brought his wife and kids to the Gold Coast and says it's been a massive benefit.
Initially, my biggest fear was my family coming over and feeling like it was a bit of like a prison setup. It's been the complete opposite.
The Eagles have at least one more week in the Gold Coast hub. Melbourne Storm coach Craig Bellamy fears his team will be stuck in their Sunshine Coast hub for the remainder of the NRL season due to Victoria's second spike of COVID-19 cases. 18 partners and 33 kids are staying with the Storm at the Twin Waters hub, with the NRL paying for everything.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're here for the rest of the season, to be quite honest. But it depends on what happens down in Melbourne. We've probably realised we're going to be here a lot longer than what we thought we were going to be here.
Players who dropped the ball at training today were forced to train in their undies. And it's not just AFL and NRL players who are concerned about leaving their families to play in interstate hubs, with Melbourne Victory players worried about being relocated to New South Wales.
I really don't want to go to a hub because my family is here. I don't want to let my family alone for a couple of weeks.
32 games will be played across 39 days when the A-League season resumes on July 16. WNBA star Liz Cambage is leading calls for the Aboriginal flag to be represented on all Australian sporting team uniforms.
If we really want to respect this country, we need to see those flags on our uniforms.
Cambage and the Opals threatened to boycott training if Basketball Australia didn't support the Black Lives Matter initiative. Nick Kyrgios is back in the headlines, this time for getting into a war of words with tennis legend Boris Becker. The 6-time Grand Slam winner labelled Kyrgios a rat after the Aussie posted an expletive-laden rant to social media about fellow star Alexander Zverev not isolating after playing in Novak Djokovic's coronavirus-hit Adria Tour. But Kyrgios hit back, calling Becker a donut, Mitch, and not the sharpest tool in the shed. You'll see the sharpest tools tonight on the front bar at 9:15 p.m. on 7 with special guest 1985 Brownlow medalist Brett Hardy, who is a very funny fellow, by the way.
Have you heard him speak at functions?
Very funny.
He's got a great sense of humour. Thank you very much, Tim. Melina Saris is next with the forecast. And Melina, the blue skies turn to rain tomorrow.
Mid showers move in overnight and then we have a few wet days on the way. I'll have the details next.
Hello, I'm Michael Usher. Here's what's coming up tonight on the latest from 7 News across Victoria. Threats of fines and jail time. Australia's acting Chief Medical Officer joins us to weigh in on Victoria's strict outbreak control. Super Wednesday, how every Australian can get their hands on an extra $10,000 cash, but it comes with a warning. Hope you can join me tonight on the latest from 7 News after the front bar.
He knows them and they know him. What's he hiding that would make him do this?
No, stop! Stop! Grace! Stop! Grace! Stop!
I just left her for a few seconds, then she was gone. Why would they do this? Home and Away, next up on 7.
The Rebel sale is on. Save 25% on a huge range of men's, women's and kids' fleece. And take up to 50% off a huge range of footwear. Loads more deals. Shop in store and at rebelsport.com. The Rebel sale is on. Sport is calling.
Boys, have you built your six-pack yet? A six-pack? You can load it up with any 6 players to kick the first goal. You got it? Okay, yeah.
With the six-pack, you can take the AFL to the next level.
But to do, you know, all this here's got to be painted again. Gee. I lowered all my door frames by 2 feet, just as an epic reminder that Aldi are having their special buys.
You can't miss that.
Hey, precisely.
Turn your doorway into an epic reminder for this Saturday and get adult hiking shoes for $29.99, adult down jackets for $49.99 and merino thermal underwear for $29.99. Only at Aldi. Good. Different.
Many restrictions are changing, making it more important than ever to keep all of us safe. Having the COVID Safe app on your phone helps our health workers to notify you quickly if you've been in contact with someone who has tested positive for coronavirus. Join over 6 million Australians who are helping to stop the spread together and reduce the risk of outbreaks. So that we can get back to the things we love, download the COVID Safe app today.
Authorised by the Chief Medical Officer, Canberra.
Bring on the dirtiness, muddiness, sauciness. And how did that get under theiriness? Because with a great range of cleaning solutions, Godfrey's gives you cleanliness.
Get AHM Extras cover from only $2.90 a week. It's that easy. So you can get back to doing whatever it is you like to do. Even that. Find out more and join AHM Direct today. AHM, the simple bit.
Put yourself in a place where everything is possible. The BMW X3 S Drive 20i. From $69,900, drive away. Inspiration captured. Search BMW X3.
So what cash flow boost is available for my business?
What are the tax rules around job seeker payments?
We've all got tax questions this year. Thankfully, at H&R Block, we have the answers.
Let's get you started.
Maximise your tax refund. Book an appointment today.
Just get on a ladder.
If you don't take care of them at work, we'll make sure you face the consequences. Because workplace manslaughter is now a jailable offence.
Bet on the AFL with Neds and get $2 lines on every game this week. Back any team at the line in any AFL game this round and you'll get $2 odds with Neds. Take it to the Neds level.
Hello again. July is the coldest month, but today we recorded our warmest temperature all week. The city got to 17 degrees with sunny skies, but it felt quite chilly at times with gusty winds up to 50 k's an hour. Outside now in the city, it is 15 degrees on our way to a low of 9. It was mostly sunny across Victoria, but moderate northerlies increased during the afternoon. Our maximum temperatures were above the July average, mostly ranging from 16 at Wangaratta to 20 at Orbust. Mildura managed a top of 22. This cold front is expected to reach Western Victoria tonight. It'll move across the east tomorrow morning, bringing a colder westerly airstream across the state. There is a severe weather warning in place for damaging winds this evening. They'll strengthen ahead of that cold front and will continue through to tomorrow morning. Widespread showers will also extend from the west tonight, and isolated thunderstorms are possible over the southwest and central areas. Those showers continue early tomorrow morning and contract to southern and mountain areas at night. Around the nation for tomorrow, partly cloudy in Brisbane, windy but mostly sunny in Sydney, showers in Adelaide and mostly sunny in Perth. But Victoria will have showers mainly during the early morning and afternoon. They will contract to the south and our mountain areas at night. Thunderstorms are possible in the south tomorrow morning. Local hail will also extend from the west and we'll have some snowfalls on the Alps. Top temperatures will be closer to average tomorrow. 13 in Bendigo, 14 at Traralgon. Ballarat will only get to 10 degrees. There will be rain over the suburbs in the early morning, then the chance of showers throughout the day. We could also see a thunderstorm in the morning with gusty winds and possible small hail in the afternoon and evening. It'll be partly cloudy and 13 and 14 degrees in most areas. We will have rain early on in the city, then a shower or two throughout the day. From a low of 9, we are heading for a top of 14. Showers on Friday as well, up to 8 millimetres and a top of just 12 degrees. More showers on Saturday, 14. Showers easing on Sunday, 14 as well. A shower or two on Monday, a possible shower on Tuesday, and we finally dry out on Wednesday. Mostly sunny, 14 degrees. Mitch.
22 at Mildura today. Quite remarkable. Thank you, Melina. And that's the way it is this Wednesday, the 1st of July. Thanks for your company. For now, from the team, good night.